Hey guys, so I finished Hunting Adeline a few days ago, and I would say it's a 3 out of 5. I did not like the ending, and it's crazy because it had the type of epilogue ending that I wanted, where it was long and it was drawn out. But the problem that I had with the epilogue was that there was too much smut and crazy, right? Because I'm all about like reading smut, but like I also want there to still be a little bit of plot when I'm reading the book. And I'm saying this because the first half of the book is crazy. It's intense, it's graphic, it makes you really connect to the characters because you're right there with them. And then the second half of the book really falters, and like I was so ready to give this one a 5 out of 5. Like I didn't enjoy what was happening to the girls in the second book, and this one is a lot more graphic, even though the first one is still very graphic. Um I didn't enjoy what was happening to the girls, but it was one of those things where you were rooting for the characters. All the characters had life, all the characters were working together to do the main plot. And then after chapter 23 or chapter 22, the pacing goes like off the rails and it gets really slow. And like, yes, they're dealing with a lot of emotions, but there was a lot of paragraphs in the last few chapters where it felt like there was forced drama, but there was also a lot of wordy paragraphs where it was just like, we don't need all this. We know this. So, like, this is the stuff that we've been learning throughout the first book and throughout the first half of the second book. We don't need all this wordiness. And it got really frustrating to the point where I was just like, I don't want to keep reading this anymore. And like it could have been condensed. It could have been condensed by a lot. Like not too much, but just condensed by enough to the point where it was just like polished and the story really came out and it got well rounded. And it felt like the villain at the end of the second book. The secondary villains had a better like way of getting dealt with than the main villain. So like the secondary villains, I don't want to spoil the ending, but basically they have to go through it and then the main villain just kind of gets off scot free and I'm just like this is really frustrating. It was really frustrating. Like they don't get off scot free either, but it was so anticlimactic and I was just like I don't I don't like the ending. And it's weird because I enjoyed these books. I enjoyed the first book and I enjoyed the first half of the second book. And I was going to rate both of these 5 out of 5s. Like in my head, I was like, this is a 5 out of 5 read. And then I got to the halfway point of the second book and I was just like, whoa, this feels like two different books, like two completely different books. I'm not talking about the first and the second book. I'm talking about the second book, Hunting Adeline, feels like two separate books. Like the first book is one book, or the first half of the book is one book, and the second half of the book is another book. And one book was written properly, it was condensed, the pacing was there, and the character development and everything. And the second half of the book is just it falls flat. Like if you're looking for smut and you're looking for like a lot of smut, then Hunting Adeline is for you. But I I I didn't really appreciate it. Like I still love Haunting Adeline. Haunting Adeline was a really good book. But Hunting Adeline it could have had a better ending. I'm not gonna lie, it could have a better ending. It was too wordy, could have been condensed. It was too much. It was way too much. I found myself fast forwarding in the audiobook because I was like, they're having a lot of smut in this book, and they could just fast forward this. I need to get back to the plot. And like it felt like they would forget that there was a plot in the first place. And it was just like I didn't like it. I wasn't into it like I was the first book had me so enthralled. There were there were scenes in the second book. Like Sibby was cool. Sibby was amazing. Adeline and Zaid's chemistry throughout the second book was really awesome too. But then it got to be too much where we were spending too much time with them and I was like, what's happening? Like when are we gonna get to the ending of this? Like I I understand you guys are in love. I enjoy that you guys are in love, but when are we gonna get to the end? Like this is way too much. This is too wordy. It has to be condensed. Like there would be pages and pages of pages where the author was trying to get something across, and it was like, no, I got the point already. I 100% understand what's going on. Can we move on to the next thing? It's very frustrating.